Hello, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of A Conversation with Antuan. This episode, I'm talking to Lauren Robinson. She is the author of novel The Boy Who Saw in Colors. And of course, as many books go that involve Nazis, always interesting. Who doesn't love punching a Nazi? This isn't so much about that. It's more about the youth. And we talk about her research going into the world of the youth in that time and being pulled into that and what he used, the character in the story used to survive during those dark times. Great time talking to her. I hope you enjoy the whole episode. She is such a delightful person. Love Lauren, she's awesome. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the episode and tell me what you think. Are you there?
Yeah, I think you can hear me now.
Fantastic. Absolutely, I can. And I love the accent automatically right away.
Thank you, yeah. Good to finally see you anyway.
It's good. Wow. Well, welcome to my show. I am so happy to have you. I've been reading your book, and
Oh no. Those are always very scary words for an author to hear.
I'm incredibly grateful when someone says they're reading my book. I do feel like that the moment where I'm like, this is the moment of truth.
I know, yeah. There's that slight pause in between. So I read your book, and it's sort of panic mode. So
yeah. I've had those panic modes. It's always funny too when I have that same thing when someone asks me, "What is your book about?" Because
yes.
It's like this frantic thing in my mind where I'm like trying to put 400 pages worth of information into like a brief summary, and I always hate it when we have to do that.
Exactly. Yeah, I think sometimes as well that the best way to describe it is just by using one word, isn't it? Sort of like an emotion people would feel when reading it, or whatever it may be.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna cut to the chase. We're just gonna pop right into it.
Let's go for it. Yeah.
And I say, this is a very different kind of book that I'm used to reading. The Boy Who Saw in Colors.
Yeah.
And so one of my curious question was, I forgot the name of it, where you actually like can hear light. I had a friend who had it.
Okay, cool.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yes, yeah. Synesthesia.
That's it. Yes. So when writing this, like, do you have that? Because I think it's pretty interesting as a gift. Or
yeah, absolutely. I don't have it personally, but I've always found it like really profoundly fascinating, and I've done quite a lot of research when I was writing the book into synesthesia, and yeah, basically I just find it fascinating, and I wanted to include it in any book, whatever it may be, and I'm also very interested in World War II, so I thought let's smash them together and see where we go. So that's how it was born.
Awesome. Well, yeah, you went into great detail about that, and so in my mind, I was like, how how neat is this?
Yeah, it's definitely really fascinating. I would love to be able to experience it.
Yeah, I feel like it would be kind of cool. I maybe wouldn't want it all the time. I think it's probably overwhelming.
Yeah,
but
I think so. Yeah,
I feel like it would be great to like watch a TV show or a movie where someone that was experiencing that could share that with the rest of us, like the true account, like be able to say like this is what life is like for me, and be able to see it and see it develop into its purest forms. Because in my mind, it would be beautiful, especially to be able to like see sounds. But I can also imagine like
such.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I imagine it would be like a very kind of psychedelic experience, but like you said, I think after a while it would probably become sort of sensory overload as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So tell me more about this. Tell me more about the book. Tell the readers, like, what is the story about? What drew you to tell this story?
So the story begins in 1939, Berlin, where Josef, the main character, and his family are grieving the loss of somebody very important to them. And as the book progresses, Josef learns that he's being sent to one of these national political institutes of education, where they indoctrinate the youth into the ideologies of Hitler. So along the way, Josef sort of, he sort of tries to find some comfort in the only thing he knows how, and the only thing he knows. He tries to find comfort in the colors and everything around him. And from then on, it's sort of just a story of brotherhood and friendship and passion and resilience.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah. That mini panic when someone asks what your book is about. It's what you were saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
I quickly jumped to the place right after saying how terrified that is.
It's like someone asking you what you're doing with your life or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that question, by the way.
Yeah, no. But also you said you read the book, which means you've read the old edition of the book, which is a bit nerve-wracking. The new edition's coming out in August, and I'm really excited because I just put so much more into it. You'll be shocked. Yeah, you'll be really shocked. Yeah.
So tell me about this, because I did see that you were coming out with a second edition, and one of the questions I was going to ask is how big of a difference is it? Like what are we expecting?
Wow, well, big difference. The story is mostly the same, a few changes here and there, but I go into a lot more detail with the side characters. Also a lot more with the synesthesia aspects of things. And basically the reason I didn't before, and the reason I didn't have the marketing budget that I had before, honestly, it was just down to the cost of things. But because of my fan base, my readers, booksellers, podcasters like yourself, I've been able to have a second go at it. So I'm extremely thankful.
That's great.
I have the new cover made, and by the very talented artist Barbara Tamling, who's from Brazil, and the book trailer, the book trailer, which is made by Victoria Greery from the UK. So wild.
Yeah, I saw that trailer and I was like, oh, I wish I had something like that. Like seriously, that looks really cool.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. Yeah, I have no idea what to expect when I sent the brief. I have no clue, but she came back with just gorgeous artwork, and I was like, oh my goodness. I had no idea people could do stuff like that. Well, I knew animation was a thing, obviously, but it's very talented.
Well, that's neat. Shoot her shoot me her information, because
of course, absolutely.
I enjoyed the art, and depending on how much it costs, I might go in on it, because I could do that for both the Catalyst and Dakota.
No, awesome. For sure. Yeah. It's it's definitely worth it, because it's she's incredibly talented, and she does a lot of research as well into your into your novel. She sent me back all this research she did into these Polish schools and World War II Germany and this crazy stuff, and she had no clue before that. So I was I was very grateful. But yeah, I'll
Awesome.
definitely send you her information.
Absolutely, yes. I'll
Yeah,
look into it, and I'm also going to share your video on Twitter. I'm not sure
no,
if I
cool.
already did, but I'm
I
gonna
don't
post a link in
think
there.
so. Yeah, no, I don't think so. But yeah, that would be good. Yeah,
Yeah, so other
yeah.
people
The
can
more
see
people
it.
see it, better. Because yeah, she deserves it. Victoria deserves it.
100%. Yes, yes. Yeah. So you said you did a lot of research,
Mm,
um, and I was kind of curious about that because, I mean, there's a lot of stuff about World War II out there. I mean, there's
yeah.
movies and there's TV shows and there's all this stuff, and we get like little sprinkles in here and there, but the indoctrination aspect of it,
Mm.
I've never really looked too deep into that. So I'm kind of curious when you were researching, like, what is that like? Like, were you able to get details like, it's like the process, like how they pull people in, what they showed them, what they taught them, things like that?
Yeah, so when I was doing my research, I really kind of fell into a rabbit hole many years ago now. It was flip over six at this point. Um, so I just fell into a complete rabbit hole and I couldn't really get out. I still haven't got out actually. But yeah, a lot of the things that I learned were, very frightening, really. What they taught these boys, how they went to schools and they sort of like headhunted these boys almost, and they pulled them aside and they almost sometimes trick them into joining the school to go into kind of like the auditions for the school. It was wild. But yeah, I mean, the reason, I mean, it was so long ago at this point that it's hard to say because the research for me kind of just built upon each other. It kind of just you know eventually fell into place, and I had the story. Um, yeah, so it's
Cool. Yeah, I again, like they really don't touch that too much. I feel like it would be kind of cool, and fascinating if, there was like some sort of like series, like a Netflix series where they like,
yeah,
they show like that experience of being pulled into that environment,
yeah,
and they could have someone kind of like your character that
mm,
isn't completely sold, and how he's like trying to survive and find
yeah,
friends that kind of have like a similar mindset as him, and they kind of band together to kind of, um, you know, not not be discovered and pointed out as like being divergent, but also
yeah.
banding together and having their own kind of little clique of like, we're in it, but we're not really
We're
in
not.
it.
Yeah, well, it's wild that you say that because in some of my research, I looked into the German resistance. Obviously, there's Hans and Sophie Scholl, who were resistance members of the White Rose, and they were only students when they did this. And I found their story really fascinating because they knew that they were so tiny in this huge big game, but they thought doing something was better than doing nothing. So what they did was handed out leaflets, which sort of told everyone, basically what Hitler was doing was wrong and what exactly it was he was doing. So a lot of the German people weren't too aware of what was happening. It was sort of right under their noses, but they still didn't really know. And when they were eventually executed, Hans Scholl's last words were "Long live freedom," and that's really been something that's really stuck with me. And in the new edition, you'll kind of see where these influences kind of come in. There's literally a new chapter that I've had it called "Long Live," so it's yeah, it gives me chills honestly thinking about it. And what you just described actually about these sort of band of boys who are sort of they're obviously talented enough to get into the school and they're in it enough, but it's mostly because of their parents' statuses, their parents' money, this, that, and the other. They're kind of just there because they have to be, and in the school they're kind of seen as like weaker than the other boys. They're kind of seen as nobodies, for lack of a better word. And so they do kind of come together as a group, and it really is a story about friendship as well.
Yeah, I feel like it's the nobodies that change the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's those kids that are out there who, maybe you're into something a little bit weird or strange or wild or whatever it is. But I think those kids are fearless, honestly. They can just go do whatever.
Yes, I think in order to be exceptional, you can't be
Mhm.
normal.
Exactly. Yeah,
So,
I agree. I think we would both know about that, being writers.
yes, yes, yes. That's yeah. We live in a different world in our own minds, and we're able to
We do.
see beyond. Be able to live in someone else's shoes and
Yeah.
take on a different life. And I think I think that's why writers are my favorite people.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
yeah. It's rare that you come across. I mean, you see it sometimes, but a
Sometimes.
writer that's not empathetic because you have to put yourself in someone else's shoes.
Exactly. I think that's what makes a good writer, actually, and even a good journalist, because I studied journalism as well. It's the ability to listen.
Mhm.
I think that's key.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I saw journalism in one of your profiles because I kind
Yeah.
of did some digging. I know I was
Okay.
looking at Goodreads, and I saw
Right.
what exactly are you? What are you doing? Are you writing articles for a newspaper or for magazine or is that just part of your writing?
Not currently, unfortunately. I just finished university this year, so it was my final year this year. So I'm a graduate now, which is exciting.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So now it's the hunt now for work. But yes, I do want to go into journalism. I want to write.
I
I
think
want to
that's
tell stories.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I really value and respect people who go into journalism, especially with this desire to pursue the truth. Um,
Yes. Yeah,
the truth is so important, especially in the world right now. So
exactly.
to have someone that's kind of like a Lois Lane, like like like
Yeah, very colonial.
yes, yes, a ballsy
Yeah.
pursuit of the truth and just dive right into danger. Like that's impressive. That's courage. That's um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of journalists I look up to. And I've always wanted to be a journalist ever since I was in high school, and also author as well. So it's pretty cool. It's not many people can say that they've sort of done what they wanted to do. So
Awesome, awesome. Yes, yeah, I agree completely percent. Um,
mm,
that's awesome. So, what got you interested in Germany and the World War II? Like, what kind of what's the catalyst to this book?
well, I've always, like ever since I can remember, been really interested in World War II history, World War One as well, but mostly World War Two. And when obviously in high school, you learn about the Jewish people's plight, which was wonderful to learn about and incredibly sad and chilling. But me being me, I wanted to go a little bit further and again, kind of jump into this rabbit hole. So I eventually came across, European history, and then, even narrowed it out even farther then to German history. And that's when I found these schools that these boys went to in Hitler Youth and everything that everybody knows. And I sort of started to think, because there's not many stories written about people like that, especially the Germans who sort of, they didn't really want to be where they were, they sort of had to be. You know, and obviously then the Germans who were in the resistance and stuff like that as well. And I knew that whenever I was writing the book, I wanted to write a smaller story about these people, even though it is set in this school, this very big school. But it is a smaller story within kind of like a larger scope, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So that is where it began.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I had a period of fascination as well, and I watched let's call them documentaries on the whole experience. And but again, like I said, I liked that you went in a different direction because I never saw too much about the indoctrination. Just, you know, everyone's general knowledge about like the rise of Hitler and the rise of the, you know, of the party. And you see all these movies that focus on the war, but don't focus on that aspect.
And that's kind of something that I want to sort of, you know, get across to readers, is that this story is set during World War II, but it's not a big, grand, epic war story like a lot of others. It really is a very, very, very small story, even smaller scale than I would say books like The Book Thief and All the Light We Cannot See and stuff like that. It's even smaller again. To its core, it's really just about this boy. He likes to paint, and he has friends, and that's it. But I think that sometimes all we need is just a story about just people.
Because in the end, it's, you know, that's what life is about. Life is about the smaller moments, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And individuals. So you've got this book under your belt, and you're working on getting the second edition out.
Yes.
What are your plans after that? Are you thinking about doing another novel? Is it going to be kind of similar to this, or what's going on? What's your agenda?
Yeah, well, I'm currently researching and kind of roughly drafting a story set in my own hometown, based on the troubles of the 1970s, which is also something that people don't really know too much about, really, especially people over in America and stuff like that. You know a little bit about it, but I don't think much. And sort of I had this sort of eureka moment the other day where I was just sitting in a coffee shop, and it was the first time I've been able to write in a coffee shop in a very long time. Yeah. And I just thought of something, and I kind of got chills down my spine, and I knew that that's something I really had to pursue then after that, because, you know, that the spine doesn't lie, right? Yes, sometimes your brain can lie to you, but the spine, that never does. So that's what I'm doing now. It'll be a story set in the Troubles about a young girl who's kind of looking during that time. So it is in a way similar to Blurry Song Colors, but also very different. Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm a little more fascinated because when you say the Troubles in the 70s, where? What are we talking about? The Troubles? Are we talking about Germany? Or are we talking about in Ireland or the U.S.? Where's the setting?
So it's set in my hometown in Derry, Northern Ireland. So it's I mean, a bit of a minefield.
I'm completely ignorant. So
yeah, no,
that. So what happened in the 70s?
That's totally fine. Basically, it was it was a huge mess, but it was a political war, another political war, like similar, not well, I shouldn't say that, but I mean, yeah, similar to what happened in Nazi Germany, honestly, but on a much smaller scale, I would say. But it was mostly between Catholics and Protestants here, and it was a huge problem because we're neighbors, right?
Yeah.
across the water, as we say. There's a bridge separating both sides. Even today, obviously, it is more mixed nowadays, but back then it was separated completely, and yeah, it was really really sad actually, and yeah, so I want to kind of bring that story to light.
All right, awesome. Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
like to hear more about
that
that.
yeah, I was trying to say tell you what it was all about with like giving away too much there, because I am still drafting,
Of course.
but yeah, no, it was a very very dark time in Irish history, and not that long ago either. So
Okay. Yeah, I like political drama stories. I
yeah,
like those TV shows. I like to see like the brewing developments of things and then the blow up
yeah,
and then like, the tensions and the aftermath and seeing
yeah,
things to get
exactly.
resolved. And so I would like to hear more about this, and you can share it with me and I'll share it with others as you get, further into your draft and finish it. I'd
Absolutely.
like to hear more about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it honestly, it was new to me too. Obviously, I knew that it happened, but
Mhm.
I didn't know everything that happened until I started doing research. And honestly, I'm appalled by some of the things that happened. And but so curious. There's in Derry here. I'm kind of in the center of it all. So it's doing research here is really interesting.
Mhm.
And I've spoken to people from both sides of the conflict. So again, that's wild.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, no, for sure. As soon as there's more developments, I'll let you know, and you can share or not share whatever you choose to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Will be happy to share.
Yeah.
And I think it's great that you're dealing with something that's in the 1970s because you still have that generation alive, um,
Yeah.
and enough of them to really do like person to person research and get personal accounts and add that to your story.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
yeah. How much truth do you put into it versus fiction? Like I know the story about the boy is primarily fiction, right? Um,
Yeah.
okay. Because I saw historical fiction, but I'm like, how much, you know, how much
Yeah.
liberty does she take with it?
Yeah. I mean, historical fiction is kind of a loaded term, isn't it, in a
Yes.
sense? Because although there is some historical aspects, the characters are mostly work fiction, but at the same time they could have existed. It's not totally out of the realm of possibility that people like Joseph could have existed, because these boys were in this school, and I'm sure there were boys there that might have been in the LGBTQ plus community, and you know sort of dealing with the truth as well. So,
Yeah.
but at the same time, yeah, you do sort of take some some liberties. I mean, I like to describe what I do is having some historical elements to it, but also a lot of kind of fantastical and mystical elements, and even more so in the new edition. I really feel like in the new edition I found my writing style, and it's kind of yeah, a touch of history and a touch of magical realism. So
I like that magical
yeah.
realism.
Yeah, magical realism. Yeah. Again, that's another a loaded term.
Yeah. Well, as a spiritual person myself, I can kind of see where that exists in that realm because life
Yeah.
life really is a lot more than we perceive it to be.
Yeah,
There's
exactly. Yeah.
so, um, that is I don't really go into that very often. I'm not going to.
Okay.
um, yes, you're from the town of Derry, and this is where I go into geek mode
Geek
because
mode.
are you a Stephen King fan?
Yes. Yes. Okay. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I know what you're gonna say.
Yes. So you must when you read how much have you read?
I mean, I've read how much Stephen King have I read? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I've read it. Yes. I've read the Langoliers. I think that's it. Book wise, I mean, I watched films, but
Yeah.
that's the only two books of his I've read, which is, oh God, that's probably criminal, isn't it?
No, I mean, there's a lot of books to read.
There is a
Like,
lot of books. Yeah.
this, I feel
And
like
it's the
unless,
Bible, so. Oh, I've also read The Body as well. I really like that one. Smaller
okay,
story, but I like it.
awesome. Yeah, there's too much to read to hold any kind of judgment about anybody about what they have and haven't
Yeah.
read. Because, I mean, you can ask me an author, and I'm probably like, "Who's that?" Because I read a different strata, a different
Exactly.
genre of what a lot of people read. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
but reading it and living in Derry is just sort of like feeling like that's not here, but it's here. Like,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we were watching the film actually that came out in I think 2017, 2018, something around there. And whenever the name of the town was introduced, my mum hadn't read the book, and she turned to me and said, "Well, at least you don't have any killer clowns running around here." And I was like, "Well, as far as we know."
because
but but yeah, I mean, it's yeah.
I love that. I love that. I love that. As soon as I saw Derry in your profile, I was like, all right, don't go crazy, don't be a geek, but you gotta mention it at least once. Um,
Yeah.
are there any particular like authors or shows or movies or anything that inspire your writing?
Yeah, one author that comes to mind is an Aussie author, Trent Dalton. I don't know if you know him, but he's popular for writing Boy Swallows Universe, and yeah, huge inspiration to me because he also takes very dramatic, dark elements and kind of um, puts the sort of mystical, magical sort of tint on it as well, which makes his writing just wonderful. And
Mhm.
in his newest novel, All Our Shimmering Skies, it's even more so. He goes even more crazy with it, and I love it. I love that kind of writing. I feel like I can really connect to the characters. I no clue why, but I love that kind of writing. As for shows and film, I mean, a lot of film, honestly, a lot of film has inspired me. So, obviously you have things like, obviously like Schindler's List and The Pianist and
Mhm.
these really amazing films. But then also something more recent, like, Taika Waititi's Jojo Rabbit, or really anything he's done. I love him so much. I just love his style. I love how he takes, again, something that's really kind of dark, and he kind of puts this humorous spin on it, almost like Mel Brooks. I love
Yes,
that. Yeah, yeah, love that. I don't know if you've seen Jojo Rabbit.
I haven't. No,
Okay,
no.
yeah, you should definitely watch it. It's based on the book Caging Skies, and it's about a young boy in Nazi Germany who's in Hitler Youth. But it's wild because it's definitely satire and
Yeah,
comedy, like a dark comedy, and Hitler is his imaginary friend. And it's wild. It's wild. Yeah,
it sounds wild.
it is wild. Yeah, but also has a lot of heart, and I love it. Yeah, so stuff like that, which I understand is very that's kind of a mixture of everything, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I love it when shows can have like the dark humor. That makes you have like this
yeah,
dark element, then you throw in this humor, and it doesn't go like you can't go 100% dark. You gotta throw in like some humor,
exactly.
otherwise you're
Yeah,
well, yeah, you're it kind of brings the audience down, and or it
yeah,
doesn't attract some audience that you have.
yeah, exactly. I think when you're going dark, you have to go very, very, very dark, but also how do you explain? Do it almost subtly to the point where the reader doesn't know that it's dark until they think about it more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like Black Mirror kind of does that a
Yes.
little bit.
Yes. It
Yeah.
does. Yeah. Yeah. Black Mirror. There's episodes of that I still think about.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's just a spectacular series. They go
yeah,
places
yeah,
I never thought someone would go, and
exactly. Yeah,
so original. So,
yeah, very, very well written as well. Yeah.
one of the questions I usually ask my guests, and this is a great segue, if you could write for like in a book series or a TV series or a movie series, what would you write? Like what either mainstream or low stream avenue would you like to write in?
I think my style is probably more suited towards like indie film. I love indie film, so that's no shade or anything there. But yeah, I think it's more suited towards smaller films, kind of on the vein of some of Taika Waititi's films,
Yeah.
or like Hunt for the Wilder People, or even something like Beast of No Nation, right? Which that director's name is escaping me at the moment, but I don't know if you know. I forget. But yeah, definitely something more indie. Sometimes mainstream shows can be interesting. A lot of things Netflix have been putting out recently has been great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
feel like that's gonna really just from what I've seen, it really opens up a lot of variety that we're not used to
yeah,
seeing, um, and it's great for people like us
yeah,
because they could they could take your book on, and and they can have like a mini series, and they're not confined to the series they used to like 20 episodes. They can do like a six
yeah,
episode or a four
yeah.
episode mini
Miniseries,
series.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Funny you say that actually. It's a cool segue again. But there's actually a Irish producer. He's based in Belfast, and he's bought the rights to make, well, either like a television series or a film based on the Bowie song Colors. So at the moment we're pitching, or he's pitching, not me, but yeah, which is exciting.
That is spectacular.
Right? Yeah, right. It's I mean, for readers and podcasters and things like that to take to like my novel, to take interest in it, but then for a producer to come on and say I think this could be something, it's a whole other thing.
Well, I mean that's incredible.
Yeah,
That's kind of like one of the author's dreams. We all want to
exactly.
see,
Yeah,
or well, maybe not all, but a nice amount of us want to
yeah,
see something that we've written show up on screen.
exactly. Yeah,
That's
yeah, no,
great.
exactly. Yeah, it's almost something that I can't quite believe, honestly.
Well, that's the unbelievable happens.
Yeah,
So,
no, for sure. Yeah, for sure. It's something that I've had to keep quiet for a bit, but I've been kind of dying to sort of say something because, of course.
um, are you allowed to say? Do I have to like edit that part out?
No, you don't. You don't have to edit that part out. I'm allowed to say it. Obviously, I can't give away details or anything like that. But yeah, I'm allowed to say that.
Okay. I was good. I was like,
No, I'm allowed to say it. Yeah.
that's brilliant. I am so
Yeah.
happy for you. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. 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 I don't even know. I don't have words, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to have the words, and so like, because it's a gift. It really is. So
Yeah.
I really wish the best for you, and again, let me know, like, what happens from that meeting. If you pitch it and it goes through, I want that to be like, if you're allowed to share, like,
Yeah.
let people know, like, this is
Oh yeah.
real. This is gonna
Yeah.
happen. Prepare
Yeah.
yourselves.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, wow.
It's awesome. And it's funny because usually one of my questions I ask people is if you could be on a platform, what would you want your story to be on? And you just yep, you just answered that. So that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm grateful that it's gonna like they're going for like a television series, but
Mhm.
my answer to that, if none of this happened, probably would have been play. I would really love to see Voice on Colors as a stage play as well. So
Oh,
that's definitely another avenue to go down.
well, I mean, it can still be that way.
Yeah,
You can kind of
sure,
hit the theaters.
sure.
That would be so interesting too to kind of see like when the people running across the stage with like the ribbons and the like jumping and then there's like all these colors or as
Yeah,
you're doing the narrative in the background and
right.
um
Yeah,
you can do like voice narrations if you wanted to and then, like with your microphone.
yeah, no, for sure. It would be interesting to see how that would come about, but yeah, interesting to see anyway.
Yeah. Um Now would you want to write like the script?
I don't think so. I mean, it's one thing writing like a 300-page novel and a completely different thing to write a screenplay.
Yes,
Um,
it is.
you know this as well, but authors were not always very good at being concise,
Oh my
which
goodness.
you have to be in a screenplay. So
Yes.
yeah, probably not.
Yes, yes.
I would
I
like to have
was
input for sure, but probably not write it.
yeah, the pacing of writing a screenplay, I've heard
Yeah,
you have to go completely out of your nature of like zoning in and putting all the details and having your characters write like a paragraph's worth of conversation.
right, right, right.
So
Yeah. I mean, we're used to kind of describing the scenery and stuff like that, which in a screenplay there's a little bit of that, obviously, but
mhm,
mostly dialogue.
yeah.
Mm, so,
So what are you reading right now?
am I reading? Oh God, currently not reading anything to be fair. But I finished a book called "The Boys Who Danced with the Moon," which to me sounds amazing. Um, it's about a group of high school kids, kind of set in modern day, and it's really just about a summer where everything changed for them, and there's this mystery around what the thing was,
Mhm.
and we obviously find out at the end, and it's yeah, it was a beautifully written story. I liked it. I think it was also from what I know, he's also an indie author, which is good, cool. I always like to support indies.
Yes, that's great. And one of the things I love about this is I love the name dropping because when people mention what they're reading or someone that they liked, I can listen to them and I can kind of like write the name down.
Right? Yeah.
And when they get the time, I'm like, okay, this is who I can read next, or this is what I can look into next.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, I love reading, but it's been hard like with uni and stuff like that, and also re-release the new book and all that. But yeah, also before that, I finished reading A New Jerusalem by another author in the writing community called Stephen Black,
Hmm.
and that was also amazing. He's from Belfast, which isn't very far away from where I live, Derry.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, last year was a crazy year. Did you have a lot of time to write or read? 'Cause you said you're not reading too much right now. Did you have a
Yeah,
lot of free time? I'm not sure how things progressed with the pandemic in Ireland.
yeah. I mean, yeah. Last year things were pretty crazy as well. Here, yeah, most places were closed. My whole last year of university was sort of. I mean, it wasn't down the drain, but I had to work from home. I
Mhm.
I couldn't go to uni. I was maybe there for 2 months, and then everything closed.
Oof.
So and then it's still kind of up in the air as to whether graduation will go ahead. So I don't know. We'll see. Um, but yeah, there was a lot of time for kind of for reading and writing and self reflection and stuff like that. Um, I started the new version. Well, it was around October last year. Yeah, I finished it. Oh, like around March, I want to say. Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent.
There,
Awesome.
there, there was
Awesome.
there was a lot of time, and I don't know how things are kind of going in the US at the moment, or
Things are actually starting to open up now. I mean, things are
right.
kind of going back to normal. From what
Okay.
I've seen, like people are going out more. Um, I have that same feeling you had about the coffee shop. Like I
Yes.
miss so much. I didn't realize how much
Yeah.
I capitalized on being able to sit down in the coffee shop with my tea.
Mm.
Always a chai, has to be a chai. Um, and, and getting into that zone and it really kind of did impact my writing. I also didn't have
Yeah.
the time because I was working so much, but
Yeah.
we're getting back to that. Like, places are
Yeah.
opening up. We're going to the movies now because I just got to see what's her name? The Black Widow movie, which if you're a
Oh, cool.
Marvel fan, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
that was good.
Haven't seen it yet, but yeah.
So things are getting back to normal.
Yeah,
So
for
I'm
sure.
looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to being able to go back into the coffee shop and sit there
Yeah.
and spend like hours like in my writing element because I'll get a lot more accomplished that way.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I mean, the whole situation's kind of taught us just never to take the little small things for granted ever again, like going to the theater, like sitting in the coffee shop, or even, going out into public at all, really. And travel, of course. I miss travel a lot. Um, I miss just being able to have freedom just to go anywhere you want to, whenever you wanted to, really.
Yeah,
It's, yeah, I mean, it's wild what we took for granted before, but never again.
absolutely, absolutely. Don't take any of that for granted. Um,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, I'm
well,
actually trying to get into the States as well, but I don't think it's going to happen this year. So, uh, yeah, sad.
oh, I'm sorry to hear that. What do
Yeah.
you want to do in the States?
We were going to New York in September, but
Hmm.
it's not looking promising at the moment, just because of the
Uh,
way things are. But that's understandable, of course.
well, who knows? Hopefully, your pitch goes well, and you can get like a
Right,
celebrity pass. Like,
right.
what are you talking about? I'm working on a TV show.
Yeah,
Be up
right,
there, start to flex. You gotta start flexing that star power. You got.
right. Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for coming on my show. Thank you for having this conversation with me. I am so excited for you, and I am so pleased with your book. And it's that's just so great. Ah, the boy, the boy who sung colors. People, take your time, read this. Second edition is coming out August the
Yeah, end of August at this
end of
point.
August.
Yeah,
Perfect. Yes. So follow her on Twitter, follow her on Facebook. Are you on Instagram?
I am. Yes.
All right. I'm gonna share all your links. We're gonna share your website. We're gonna share all that stuff. We're gonna get you some readers. We're gonna share that with everybody. I wish you the very best, and I'm excited to
Thank
hear about
you.
more.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, thank you. And also, I gotta say this. Again, I'm a geek. When I
Right.
saw you, you kind of look like an April O'Neil.
April O'Neil. Oh my god, we were just talking about her too, and we were thinking about the journalism thing.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, so I mean, I have to get myself a bright yellow jumpsuit to wear out
Yeah.
and about when I'm working.
Yes. I was holding it in, but I have no impulse control. So
Yes.
before this conversation
No,
ended,
that's fine. I mean, I'm like you as well in the sense that I just sort of get something into my head and I just say it, and that's it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I gotta get you
Yeah.
like some little pet turtles or something, just
Yes.
to really
Oh my
embrace them.
yes.
Uh, but
Love
anyway,
it.
thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me as well. It's been fun.
Awesome, awesome. I look forward to talking to you more. Always feel free to reach out. Always feel free to share.
Sure,
I'll be happy to
sure.
talk to you.
Cool. No worries. I will let you know when the new version comes out so you can have a flick through that one too.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very
Cool.
much. I look forward to it.
Cool. No worries. All right.
Well, have a wonderful day, and thank you for joining me
too.
on the conversation.
You too. You too. Thank you. I know it's early. So yeah, I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. You as well. Enjoy your afternoon.
Will do. Will do. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right.
All right, there we have it again. Another episode of a conversation with Antuan. Again, Lauren's so cool. I love talking to her. I like her accent too. But we had a great time talking, not just during this episode, but afterward we talked for a little bit. Anyone else getting April O'Neil vibes? Yeah, little Ninja Turtles. I made a comment, so I'm sure she appreciated it. But yeah, great talking to her. Please check out her novel. She's re-released it, so the version that's out right now is the first version. Pretty soon, in less than a month, we're going to be seeing the re-release. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the differences are between the first version and the second version. But check her out on Twitter. I've got the links. You can also, of course, get her book on Amazon. Give her a read. Give her a chance. She's cool. And please, shares, likes, comments. The more you share, the more it benefits all the people that come on my show. And of course, if you have an interest in being on a conversation with Antuan, reach out to me. I've been kind of crazy busy in July and distracted in a good way. But I'm still taking people and loving to have you on my show. So reach out to me and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in.